Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fantasy Tip Show Game Week 20 FPL preview. Yet another game week. I don't think we've had this many game weeks in a January since we started playing FPL. This is the most we've ever had in January. And FPL graduates are back with me again. I actually did count. I was making a study of how many guests I've gotten on this show. And this is your 10th appearance on this show.
Hey,
Milestone. If this was the Premier League, you'd have qualified to get a medal at the end of the season. Hi, Josh.
Hi, man. How you doing?
Absolutely well. And Ben, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Hope you're doing well too, Glenn.
Absolutely. So Game Week 20 is here, as I said, and we're just going to do a quick review on Game Week 19. It was a very busy week, a lot of points for everyone. And I'll start with you, Ben. How did your Game Week 19 go?
Yeah, well, I didn't use any of my chips and finished on 94 points, which I think is a very respectable score for me. McCarthy in goal of 1 pointer. You know what? I'm not too fussed about it because of my defence. Really did well with my defence this week. Brought in Cresswell on a -4. Target with 18 points and Justin with 14. Can't complain about that at all. But it's over, 40 points just on 3 players, which was crazy. Midfield, bit disappointing this week, to be honest. Salah captain, I thought he could have maybe returned, but Liverpool just didn't look like themselves over those 2 games. Didn't really look like scoring in either of them. Son with a lucky assist for me, 5 points. We'll take them all day long. Mahrez, less said about him, the better. And Fernandes, as per usual, just getting the 8-pointer, getting the assist and helping my team out. Up front, another great point scoring haul from Kane, 9 points. And Antonio, the other player I brought in on a -4, 18 points. Absolutely huge. I mean, can't ask much more from Antonio. On the bench, Anguissa with 8 points. A bit frustrating that he's on the bench, but I couldn't have foreseen him getting an attacking return in that double game week. So overall, 94 points is not too bad. I maintained my rank there or thereabouts, so can't really complain at all.
I also had Anguissa on my bench, but I'll be on FPL Gorgeous show later. I'll talk about my team over there. So I also had Anguissa on my bench, and I also had Barton, the backup goalkeeper for West Brom, on my bench. And I wanted to play my bench boost, but I was like, man, the goalkeeper won't play, and I need 4 players to play that. So I didn't really play it. Barton actually played the first game because Johnston was out, so that was really damaging. And Anguissa got an assist, so that was really, really bad. So I didn't really like it. But were you happy with those points you got, or did you expect more?
Well, at one point during the game week, I was panicking a little bit because my players weren't getting points. But consistently, I was getting someone returning pretty much every game there or thereabouts that I had assets in. So overall, really happy with how it's turned out. I mean, to nearly get 100 points is decent. I mean, the average was really, really high this week, and I was just below what the top 10K were averaging. So the aim is to be keeping up with those top 10K and try and close the gap down. So I've done a relatively good job this week of keeping up with them without using any chips.
Yeah, who did you bring Antonio in for?
So I brought Antonio and Cresswell in for Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Michael Keane. So both of them didn't play, didn't get any points. So really good decision from me to bring both of them in, and it's really paid out with West Ham having a couple of good performances.
Awesome. And Calvert-Lewin is back now, I think. I don't know how many people will bring him back in because there's a time he was like almost the most on playing FPL. But yeah, those plus 90 points is very good. Now let's go to Josh's team. How many points did you have this week?
This week, 115. Unlike Ben, I did play my triple captain on KDB. Weren't the worst. I think we was on your live last time, Glenn, and I said I might play it. And if it scores between 20 and 30, I'll be okay with that. 24, it could have been a lot higher. A bit disappointed because obviously he went off before the 60th minute in the second game. In the second game, he passed it to Cancelo, who hit the bar. So a bit disappointing there, but I'll take it. It's not a blank at the end of the day, so it could be worse. The back three, this has been consistent for the past 3 weeks, I think. My defenders have all returned and have returned quite massively. Of the obvious one being John Stones scoring a brace. Don't think anyone saw that come in. James Justin with 14 and Cresswell with 10 will take that all day. Bruno, Mr. Reliable, as always. Son with an assist from a corner. I actually think set piece wise, he's probably a bit better than Harry Kane because he's on corners, and they seem to be scoring quite few from corners recently. So Son for me is decent. He's got the assist, as I said. Salah disappointing, but obviously he scored a brace against United in the FA Cup, so hopefully he'll be back to goal scoring ways. El Ghazi was probably the biggest disappointment, given the fact that he didn't start in both of the games. I thought if he started against Newcastle, he definitely would have scored. Patrick Bamford with a blank, again disappointing. All of Leeds was quite disappointing, to be fair. I think everyone thought they would do a lot better. A lot of people bench boost with the Leeds assets on the bench, and obviously they failed to return. And then Antonio with 18, which was double decent, and Holding on the bench for a clean sheet, obviously, which isn't too bad. I won't lose sleep over it, but solid week, 115, and then we move on to the next one.
Solid week, 115, and we move to the next one. Simple as that, huh? So, Leeds were supposed to have a double game week, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So had you brought their assets thinking they'd have Southampton before the game was postponed?
Nah, not for me. I always try and hold off. Like even this week, I'm still waiting for Tottenham to play tonight before I make any moves. So I'm usually I quite like leave it to the last minute unless there's a price change or something like that. But I know a lot of people, I saw on like FPL Twitter, so many people did almost stockpile on Southampton and Leeds assets because both of them were meant to have a double. But nah, unfortunately not. I managed to unscathe out of that one. That's
Tone's brace was very, very good, I'm telling you. I actually bought him in that week, and I was very, very relieved that I didn't go for Diaz. And it's actually because he was cheaper, so you consider yourself very lucky with that. So I was really happy that that is the first time my defender scored 2 goals in a while, maybe only the second time since I started playing FPL 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm happy with that. So that's the Game Week 19 review. Game Week 20 will also be a busy week. Another games on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before other ones on Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be another busy week. So for the fixtures, we'll come to the FPL Focus next. But for the fixtures this week, you have the likes of Tottenham against Liverpool. We have United against Sheffield. Now, Josh, I really don't like you guys, but that team again, just like Burnley last time out when you played Burnley, you're going to smash them up. So very, very, you should be considering United players. So which fixture are you looking forward to most, Josh, as an FPL manager and as a fan?
For both, probably it's going to be the Sheffield United game. I think it's going to be really nice to look forward to in terms United are probably playing the best football they've played in the last 5 years. And they're doing quite well. Obviously beat Liverpool at the weekend. Bruno rested for the majority of that game, which is double decent for owners. Rashford was a bit of a scare. He's having a scan today on his knee. I'm not sure what the latest on that is. So he was going to be my ideal replacement after seeing him get the assist and goal against Liverpool, because he's quite a form-driven player, Rashford. When he's in form, he tends to do quite well the games after. So he was going to be my pick, but unfortunately, I think Martial will probably come in for him. But yeah, it looks good with that. And Sheffield United obviously only kept, I think, 1 clean sheet this season, and that was against Newcastle, who are arguably worse than them. So yeah, it's a decent game to look forward to, and definitely captain Bruno for me this week.
And Ben, which game are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, I can't argue with Josh there. The Manchester United against Sheffield United game looks like a really tasty one in terms of fixtures. Obviously, Bruno is going to be the obvious captain choice this week. And, I'm personally going to go for that as well. Another one I'm looking forward to, and strangely looking forward to, is the Spurs-Liverpool game. I know a lot of the time when the top 6 are playing each other, it doesn't usually result in a lot of goals. But we've seen Liverpool almost took a different approach in the FA Cup against Man United, where they really tried to get at Manchester United, and United on the counter looks really devastating and quite good. So we could potentially see a similar sort of Klopp having to go for it because he's under pressure, and and Liverpool going for it, trying to get goals, and Son on the counter could be a really good pick this week. So I'm also looking forward to that Spurs-Liverpool game.
Spurs-Liverpool game. That's as a fan, as an FPL manager, the fixtures?
FPL-wise, it'd have to be the same as a fan. Like the Spurs-Liverpool game, I've got 3 assets in that, Son, Kane and Salah. So hope that they can all return. Hope it's not like a 0-0 like a lot of these games.
You want a 4-4. You want a 4-4.
4-4 would be ideal for me, really.
It rarely happens. Like when you have like 5-6 players from the same teams playing each other, you usually don't get high scoring games. But you don't have any players there, you get things like 7-4, 5-3, or 7-5. Exactly. You'd remember that game very well, Ben, but it was in the Carling Cup. So such games, you never get them when you have FPL assets. But let's get into the FPL focus for this week. And this week, it's Leicester. We've never done Leicester before. And it's actually very well that it landed on this week because they have some really good fixtures coming up. And as usual, you're going to talk about 5-6 different assets. And I'm going to ask these guys whether they get them in or not. So the first one we're going to speak about, Josh, I'll start with you, is going to be Kasper Schmeichel. What do you make? He's gone. Oops.
Where's he at?
He was scared. He was scared.
He was scared to talk about the Leicester assets.
He did not want to hear about he'll be back, guys, now. So Kasper Schmeichel is the first one, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester defensively look really solid. I mean, in their last fixtures, they've kept clean sheets, and Kasper Schmeichel has been a big part of that. I mean, keeping clean sheets in the double game week against Southampton and Chelsea, I don't think many people were expecting that, and Schmeichel's a big reason for that. Defensively, always looks solid. He is a little bit more expensive than your normal keeper, but for a set and forget, I don't think you can go too wrong with having someone like Kasper Schmeichel in your team. He's at 5.5 million, so he's a bit on the pricey side, but for goalkeepers, he's up there with the most points scored by a goalkeeper this season. He's on 80 points. He's really up there with a lot of good keepers.
Yeah, owned by only 9.8%, so it could be a differential. I wanted him to be my bench boost keeper, but I couldn't afford him, and he actually ended up picking up 70. He's a very good goalkeeper. Josh, it really looks like Schmeichel scared the living hell out of you. So would you have him, yes or no?
Yeah, I think he's a decent option. Whether I would have him is a different question. I think he's a bit too expensive for me. I don't really like spending above 5 million on a keeper. So for me, I wouldn't take him. I think you could get a defensive option elsewhere. Okay,
so Ben, you said yes or no for Kasper?
I'm saying yes, but because he's got 80 points already this season, he's third highest point scorer out of all the keepers, and he's good value, 5.5. I know it is expensive to put on a keeper, but if he's getting returns and getting points, it's going to be worth it.
Awesome. The second one, I know these guys are definitely going to say yes, obviously. They've had him literally for weeks. James Justin, owned by 25.6%. I remember when he was new, I think he was like 2% or something, 1%. His price is 5.0 right now. I don't know how much he was at the beginning of the season. These guys would know better because I've never owned him. And he's picked up 75 points this season. And apart from Schmeichel, he's the other one who has played every single game 90 minutes. So, Ben, James Justin.
I mean, I've had him literally from week one. I've had him in the team. I don't think he's even been benched for me this season. So he's a really cracking player. Brought him in. I think he was 4.5, I want to say he was at the start of the season. And a lot of people brought him in for the fact that Pereira was injured and out. And now Pereira's back. Justin's keeping his place. He's played too well to not be dropped. Like he's just so good going forwards. He's almost like a winger and gets assists, gets the occasional goal. And in a solid Leicester team, but get clean sheets, he's going to pick up bonus points left, right, and centre, which he has done this season. So, a big thumbs up from me.
Josh, you agree with that?
Yeah, he's a class asset and very good value for money, to be fair. Even when I got him in, I think I got him at like 4.8, 4.9. He's still worth the money even now. Although Ben mentioned Pereira coming back and he's still kept his place, Pereira's only really just come back and he's getting his match fitness. So whether he maintains playing right back will be interesting. I think we'll see him maybe move into a back three that Brendan Rodgers likes to play sometimes. So hopefully he does keep his place, because obviously he's way cheaper than Pereira and Castagna, so that would be nice for me. And I think he's probably the must-have defensive asset from Leicester.
I've always wanted him. Those kind of players you've always wanted, but I've never really gone for him because I always have other fires to put out. So I've never really gone for him. But maybe before the end of the season, I'll have him. The third one is James Maddison. Owned by 9.8%, same as Kasper Schmeichel. Price 7.1 and 82 points this season. A lot of them recently. A lot of them have been picked up recently. I had him in his debut season against, I remember 2 free kicks against Swansea in the same game. I had him that day and I'll never forget it. But this season, I've never owned him. That's because he was injured at the beginning of the season. Josh, I'll start with you. Maddison, very good option right now.
Yeah, I'm very jealous of people who are bringing him in. He's such a top-class player. Just the way he's really fun to watch as well. And that's another thing that you got to think about when you're making your FPL decisions. Like, it's not always about the points. Sometimes it's nice watching a good little player, seeing if he returns. And I think he's a good option, especially now KDB's out. A lot of people looking for replacements. He's definitely got to be in the top 3 for me of the top replacements for him. There's no real cons to him. The only one I can think of is that Jamie Vardy's out. So whether or not you think there might be a risk to their attacking returns, because I know Vardy didn't return in the double game week, but he's there making space for others, and his presence alone will make chances for other players in that team.
So it's a yes for you?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Ben?
Yeah, well, Maddison is one that I've brought in this week. I think based on his form alone, it's one you should definitely be getting in. He seems to be dropping 9 out of 10s for the past 5 game weeks or something like that. He's getting points. He's looking in the form of his career right now, and I can only see him keeping it up. He's got some real nice fixtures coming up as well after Everton. I think he's got Leeds and another sort of team lower down in the table to come in the next couple of game weeks. So really, really great asset to own. I mean, at the price as well, perfect if you're looking to move on to Bruyne, move on another like midfield asset like Grealish, someone like that. Maddison's going to be that guy to come in for a lot of teams, I think.
So it's a yes for you?
It's a yes from me.
Just bring up Leicester's fixtures as I go to the next one. So you're speaking about Vardy being out, Josh. But could this guy be the good replacement that you're looking for? Kelechi Iheanacho. Could he be the guy? He's owned by only 5.3. Not 5.3. Hell no. That's the wrong player. 0.3. 0.3, price of 5.6, and a total of 10 points this season, Josh.
Definitely not. I've been hearing it for about 5 years that he's better than Marcus Rashford. I don't think he'll fit the bill. We saw Jose Perez start up front in the FA Cup game for Leicester, so I don't even think his minutes alone are guaranteed, to be honest. Jamie Vardy's always been Leicester's striker, and I can't really see anyone changing that. The goals are going to be definitely from the likes of Maddison, Tielemans, Harvey Barnes, maybe Under as well, the winger. He's got a start at the weekend as well and scored. So I think there's much better options than him, definitely. And Vardy won't be out for that long, so I don't think he'll have an extended run in the team.
Yeah, Shiv says he's so bad. Very, very bad. So, Ben Iheanacho?
Yeah, he's kind of Leicester's version of someone like Christian Benteke, isn't he? He doesn't quite return when you need him to. A lot of hype around him when he moved from Manchester City, but he hasn't fulfilled that potential, and I think not one that I'd probably look to go for. I believe he's 5.8 million, something like that. Those are the fixtures for Leicester, by the way. So coming up, they've got Leeds, Fulham, Wolves. Arsenal coming up as well. So there's a couple of really nice fixtures in there. and a couple of difficult ones in the Arsenal one. But yeah, there's Leicester have some really nice fixtures, but I don't think Iheanacho is going to be one to take advantage of those fixtures. And like Josh said, I don't even think his minutes are really guaranteed with the amount of attacking flair that Leicester have got going forward, other than the obvious Jamie Vardy.
In other seasons, you'd expect such fixtures to be hard, Everton, Arsenal, but I actually think they'll score in all those games. They always have good results against Everton, and I'll tell you something for sure. At the King Power Stadium, we've only won once, and I always remember that. So, yeah, it's tough. They'll definitely score in that game, whether Iheanacho plays or not. So, thank you for that, Ben. Then, Josh, the last one is gonna be Tielemans. I love him. This is another one now I get jealous of. I always see him getting himself in the right position. That final pass for Barnes, Barnes is so good. I've mentioned him twice. That final pass for Vardy, all those passes, penalty taking, and Vardy's now out. He's on penalties, and I'll tell you something. He always scores penalties, unlike some Reading player that Ben supports called João. Tielemans can actually convert his penalties. Sorry for that, Ben. So, Josh, let me know. Tielemans, would you have Tielemans?
Yeah, Yuri Tielemans for me is the second best attacking asset for Leicester. I think he's better than Harvey Barnes in my opinion. Harvey Barnes is, I think, a bit overrated in FPL. Like you see him with his the assist he get against Chelsea and things like that. Like a lot of people hype him up for not much in my opinion. So I think Tielemans, especially now Vardy's out, penalty taker as you mentioned. His passing's unreal. He's a joy to watch as well. So yeah, Tielemans, decent player. So yes from me.
Yes, Ben. Do you think he can convert his penalties?
Well, I don't really know what to say now. Yes,
I've always wanted to get that too.
He's a good penalty taker. I'd probably take him at Reading, to be honest. But yeah, he's got a good all-round game. I don't think he'll get as many attacking returns as Maddison, but if you can't afford him, he's probably the next best option to go for. He's priced a bit cheaper, and yeah, he's a great player, and I'm sure Lucas shall be banging him in against Leicester next season anyway. So
yeah, good return, but you'll still manage to lose 7-5 to Arsenal. The last one is gonna be Harvey Barnes. Josh, Harvey, I really like him. I've heard you the last 1 week complaining about his assists. So tell us how frustrated you are.
I don't know. I owned Harvey Barnes last year, and I think he scored like a brace against Norwich or something. So like he's one of those players who can really be quite explosive, or you can just go missing for like 7 weeks. It's really like hit and miss with him, and I think that's why I like steering clear of him, just because you never know what you're gonna get. It's literally like putting your hand in a pick and mix. It's just you don't know. So for me, it's a no, but I can understand why people would go for him.
Ben?
You look at the stats with Harvey Barnes. He's got 4 returns in his last 5 fixtures in the Premier League. He seems more instrumental than he has done in the past, and he seems to be involved a lot more in the attacking play that Leicester have. And I really do like him, and I was definitely considering him as the player to bring in this week. I opted for Maddison because I thought the returns are probably going to be better and hopefully more returns in general. But at 5.4%, Harvey Barnes could be the one going under the radar a little bit. And although Josh doesn't like the way he gets assists, he gets them. And that's the main thing. He's getting in the areas that he needs to be able to provide FPL assists and FPL returns. So I don't think you'd be going too far wrong if you went with Harvey Barnes.
Yeah, I randomly got this picture, and owning Barnes is as sweet as having burgers. It's written on the side. So Barnes, definitely yes for me. I think it's a definite yes for both of you too. And then just quick ones, Josh. Now that Vardy's out, does that change your idea on Leicester, or is it still the same?
Yeah, for me, it does put me off their attacking assets massively. Obviously, I have KDB at the minute. Before Vardy's injury, I was straight to Maddison. It weren't really a thinking process, but now Vardy's out, I'm a bit skeptical. I'd rather wait and see, because the Everton game's not an easy one by an all stretch anyway. So I'd rather wait and see and how they do maybe, and then maybe bring them in afterwards. But yeah, Jamie Vardy is their talisman and by far their best player. So without him, I think they will struggle going forward, and you won't see them pick up as many points as we have done.
Okay, and Ben, do you think Ricardo will start games very soon?
If Justin keeps up his form, I don't see him replacing him. I think, like Josh said, Justin can move to the left and the right. But I want to be the devil's advocate to Josh's point about Vardy being so crucial to Leicester. In the double game week where Leicester had two really tough fixtures against Southampton and Chelsea, Vardy didn't pick up any returns, and it was in fact other players that are producing it. I don't think Vardy is as crucial to Leicester as people like to make out that he potentially is. He doesn't return as many times as we think he does, and I don't think he is as crucial to Leicester's attack. I think the creativity in producing the chances come from the midfield, like Maddison, Barnes, Albrighton, Tielemans, those sorts of players. So I think going forward, I don't think Leicester are actually going to miss Vardy too much.
How can you say that? That is crazy.
Because
if you watch them, like against Chelsea, he's literally always the pass to the assist. Like he was always there. He's just not getting the FPL returns. I think it will be crucial, and I think you'll see.
I kind of
a
agree with
drop-off.
both of you. With Ben, I actually think even with Vardy out, they'll still win few games and they'll still get some goals with Barnes and Maddison. But yeah, sometimes it can put you off, like Josh says, it can put you off, like not having the assets. So a couple of questions before we go to the last two topics. Ben, this is yours. Sammy says, I did wildcard. I don't know who to choose. Can you help me? 3 players must-haves on a wildcard right now?
So at the moment, you must have, obviously, Bruno Fernandes. I think you have to have Harry Kane in there. And I also think probably James Justin is one you have to have in there too. And probably a City defender as well.
Okay, and Josh, Liam has really wanted us to talk about Crystal Palace fixtures. Yeah, we know about those fixtures. Really, really good fixtures. I think the next 6 or 7 very good fixtures. Would you bring any of the assets in, or you're not convinced?
Nah, not convinced. Crystal Palace have been up and down this season. You really don't know what sort of team you're getting right now. It'd be more of a case, like I said, with Leicester, for example. I'd wait and see how they do and then hop on them. I think it's too much of a risk. I think there's a lot better players out at the minute. The likes of Grealish we've seen return, Maddison as mentioned, and a few others. And especially with Palace, like what assets would you really go for? Like there's Wilfried Zaha, but since the start of the season, he hasn't really picked up any form. So yeah, it's probably would stay clear at the minute. But if you're looking at it, why not? You know.
Yeah, Ben Shiv says, do you think Calvert-Lewin could be gaining his form back?
Yeah, I think Calvert-Lewin, no matter what, he's gonna be in and around the goal and in and around the points in the near future. I think it's probably only a matter of time before he will score in the Premier League. Coming back from injury, obviously it's difficult for a lot of players, but DCL has shown this season that he is absolutely quality and he's an absolute gunman in front of goal. So I think he will start getting returns. It might not be as frequently as at the start of the season, because what we saw at the start of the season was not normal from a striker. He was getting some dodgy returns, to say the least, from like winning penalties and such. So I don't think he'll be as frequent, but he will still rack up some points.
Okay, he also asks Odegaard and William Jose. Josh and Ben really taught me how to take my Arsenal hat off in some cases, and for Odegaard, I think you have to see more of him fast. But for William Jose, since they don't have a striker in that team and Fabio Silva has been really poor, I think he goes straight to their team. So I think I'd go for William Jose before Odegaard. And then just last one, Josh, Ishan gives us our team. What do you make of that team? Martinez, Diaz, Stones.
Yeah, let me just have a quick read. Yeah, it looks good. I like the Bruno captain's a must. Double City defense is also really good. Yeah, I can't really see a flaw in it, to be honest. It looks good going forward, especially with Son. So yeah, good team.
Awesome. So a few questions that are there. So Ben, captain picks for game week 20. Who are you captaining and which player that you don't own would you have wanted to captain?
So the only player that I think I'm going to be captaining this week is probably Bruno Fernandes. I mean, you can't look past him. He's in great form, scored against Liverpool, got rested against Liverpool as well in the Cup. So he's going to be well rested for a game against Sheffield United. In terms of a player that I'd want, it's difficult to say because I kind of think that I like my team how it looks at the moment, and I don't see any other players in there that potentially want to get in. Maybe another City defender like Diaz or Stones that I'd want out of them. But in terms of captaincy picks, there is no one better this week than Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes. Josh, do you agree?
Yeah, even in terms of fixtures, there's no better fixtures than what United have, really. There's no big gun against a smaller team. So Bruno it is for me for definite. Differential-wise, you could probably opt for a Leeds asset, probably Patrick Bamford. They have Newcastle. Newcastle have looked really, really bad recently. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that game. I reckon Leeds could definitely run riot. So we'll see what happens in that. And also, you got to look at maybe like Chelsea, that game. So obviously, Chelsea just sacked Frank Lampard. No one knows what really is going to happen there. I don't think Thomas Tuchel can come in before that game. So it'll be very interesting to see.
You say that about Leeds, but Leeds is also a funny team. They could go there and lose 4-0. They usually like lose to some mediocre teams by a lot of goals, in fact. And the Bruno Fernandes one, Ben, I definitely agree. Now, De Bruyne is injured. What's your plan for that, Josh?
Wait and see what happens in the Spurs game tonight. I'm probably looking at taking a hit. I'm going to go KDB to Gundogan and then take out Keenan Davis for Harry Kane. I think that's the move that I'm most likely to make. I know Kane faces Liverpool and it's not the most ideal fixture, but if we look at Liverpool right now, they're probably just as good to target, struggling to win games and keep clean sheets. So I think Kane and Son may run riot in that game if Mourinho sets up well.
I'm surprised. I asked that because I'm surprised Ben said United have the better fixture because Sheffield rarely concede more than 2 goals, sometimes even 1 in a game. And I think the better fixture is West Brom and City. And I think Sterling will definitely start that game. And I think Sterling has a better fixture than Fernandes. I don't know. I know Fernandes is on penalties, but Sterling these days is also on free kicks. So I don't even know. I think Sterling, for me, I'm trying to decide between the two teams. But yeah, Sterling is in for De Bruyne for me, straight in because he didn't play the other day, so he's a good option.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a risk, isn't it? With like you never know who's going to play in that City team.
Yeah, but they've conceded a lot of goals, even if he comes on for 20 minutes. West Brom 5 goals. We even managed 4 goals against them. Leeds scored 5. Palace scored 5 against them. So they always concede a bunch of goals. And differential of the week, Ben. Who's your differential pick for the week?
Differential pick of the week. I'm going to say it's an interesting one because there's not a lot of players that I'll be like, okay, that'd be good. But I'm going to say Michel Antonio of West Ham. He is just over 10% owned. He's at 12.5, but he's in great form at the moment. Crystal Palace away could be a good fixture for West Ham. I really like how Moyes is playing at the moment. He's gone with Ben Rama just in behind Antonio with Bowen and who else do they have in behind? I can't remember now, but they're set up in a way that I think they should have at the start of the season. And I mean, I can't look past the form that Antonio's in. I think even Moyes said he's not even back. Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might be. But the way he's setting up and the way Antonio's not even back to full fitness, like he's still going to get better as he goes on. So Antonio's a great option, a great shout for this week.
Liam is clearly very intelligent. I don't think Josh will agree that, but Odegaard better than Bruno Fernandes. Would I rather get Saka and Kane or Maddison and Cancelo, Ben?
Saka and Kane or Maddison and Cancelo? I'd say Maddison and Cancelo out of those two options. I think Maddison's in red hot form at the moment, and Cancelo is pretty much nailed on to start in that City team now. Kyle Walker's out injured. Saka, although he's doing brilliantly at the moment, are we we could see Arsenal not return any goals. We've seen it before, how they get goals one week and then the next week they're struggling against Southampton. So that is the only downside I'd see. Sorry, Glenn, you've given it to me. I'm giving it back now. Kane as well. He's a great option, but I'd say I'd rather prefer the Cancelo option out of those two.
Okay, Josh.
Gem of the week for me is going to be Edinson Cavani, 3.8%, under £8 million. He's almost nailed to start in that United team, especially with Rashford picking up a knock. I can see him scoring at Sheffield United. He's the prime striker to have against a team like that. Just get those little tap-ins like he did against Fulham. So, yeah, I can see him returning and hopefully returning for the second week in the bounce.
And then Saka and Kane or Maddison and Cancelo.
I'm going to agree with Ben. I don't think Kane's the best to bring in this week, although I am thinking about doing it myself. And Maddison and Cancelo, like, you need City defenders. A double up is almost a certainty at the minute with their fixtures going in through the next three, and also their form. I think they've only not kept one clean sheet, and that was the 90th minute against Chelsea in their last 8 games. So ridiculous form defensively. So yeah, Maddison and Cancelo for me.
The good thing with all those 4 players, all of them are guaranteed to start this week. Maddison, Cancelo, Saka, and Kane. I love Kane because he never misses penalties when he gets one. He never misses a penalty. So all of them good options. But yeah, I agree. Leicester, Maddison doing very well every set piece. Cancelo doing very well too. So Josh, are you still in the cup?
I am. Just about. Well, I say just about.
Just before you go, I give it to you. You give it to me. I give it right back to you, Ben. You're not in this topic when people are talking about the cup. This is for the big boys only. Josh, how many points did you get, and how many points did your opponent get?
I got 115. If I just double check, I'm not really sure. I did beat him by quite far. He got 81, so not much of a challenge. I'm facing an Arsenal fan in the next round. His team name is Arteta, so we'll have to wait and see. It probably has Lacazette triple captained or something.
Yeah, that could be my 4th or 5th team. You never know. That could be my 4th or 5th team. So, is he an active player?
I think so. Yeah, I can't see his team at the minute. I don't think. Let me have a look.
Okay.
He got 113 points last week. He triple captained De Bruyne, so looking tasty.
Triple captained who?
De Bruyne, same as me. He had Stones as well.
Wow. Okay. Also, last time out when Villa about to keep a clean sheet against City, I think I was on 90 at that time, and my opponent was on 40. But Villa had another fixture coming up against Newcastle. So I was starting to get a bit scared when they're almost keeping a clean sheet against City, and then another clean sheet against Newcastle. It would have been too tight. But yeah, I think I got over with 20 points. Sorry, Ben. So, Josh, final questions for the week. Which 3 players will definitely score? The fixtures are at the bottom.
I'm going to say Patrick Bamford, Phil Foden, and Bruno Fernandes.
Phil Foden. Which team will definitely keep a clean sheet?
Man City, easy pick.
And which team will score the most goals?
I'm going to say Tottenham.
Tottenham. Wow. Yeah, Liverpool play a very high line, and if they play Reece Williams, we could see a 5-2 the way they beat Southampton early in the season. Ben, 3 players that will definitely score.
Bruno Fernandes. I'm gonna say Ollie Watkins and Lookman of Fulham.
Oh, wow, definite clean sheet.
Definite clean sheet is gonna be from. I'm gonna say West Ham.
Okay, wow, and team to avoid. Which team are you avoiding?
Team to avoid, Newcastle.
Yeah, I've spoken to a couple of Newcastle fans the last 2 times we've played them, and they do not like what's going on there. And then, which team will score the most goals?
The most goals is going to come from Manchester United.
Okay, and Josh, if you had to triple up on a team, which team would it be this week?
Man City, just purely because they're defensive assets. You probably get away with tripling up on the defense right now. It's that solid at the back.
Awesome. Ben and Josh again, 10th time on the channel. I appreciate you guys. Josh, give a shout out to your next video.
Yeah, so we'll be going live approximately 8 o'clock if you're still watching. So head over to the FPL Graduates YouTube channel. We'll be doing a lot more stuff. Looking forward to obviously the upcoming game week, and maybe even a little bit of game week 26 in there as well.
Yeah, we've not covered anything here yet. This is just half. You can get everything half over there too. So thank you, Ben, and thank you, Josh, again. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching in all the chats. Let me give a shout out to them. Liam, Shiv, Lewis, RK, Sweetie, Ishan, hope I'm not forgetting Sammy, and everyone else who came on. I appreciate you, Koki. And yeah, thank you for watching. Keep staying safe, and I'll catch up with you guys later.